All right. So, welcome to Path of a Plumber podcast. I am here with Sean Stewart from Fusion Plumbing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So, we've already talked a little bit, and I think you told me that you had started in the plumbing industry in 2010, but you've kind of zigzagged all over the industry, in and out of it. You've done some fix and flips, you've done some other stuff. So, I wanted you to kind of just tell the background on your history and how you kind of got started in the plumbing industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started in 2010. We were working with some renovation companies doing fix and flips for REO properties for the real estate side of foreclosures. Um, that started off pretty good. That's kind of where I got my hand in plumbing. Were just doing little things from minor sewer repairs to switching out faucets and everything else along the line. So that's kind of when I discovered that I really liked plumbing, got into it, really enjoyed the work. And from there, it just kind of has grown from there. Moved out to Las Vegas, worked with a company out there for about 3 years, got on with a master plumber where I started to learn a ton. He taught me, everything from the basics all the way up to how to work on hotels on the strip. So from
Yeah.
there, moved back to Arizona and worked for a couple companies out here. Got out of plumbing for a little bit, went over to the gas company for Southwest Gas and realized I wasn't too fond of that and the work that we were doing over there. So while I was on over there, ended up getting the contractor's license for out here in Arizona. Decided at that point if I could get a couple jobs to support myself, we were going to run full speed with this thing. And the week after the contractor's license came in, hit a $30,000 job, left that, and it's been
Nice.
game over since then.
Yeah, and so you actually, I mean, you had kind of a roundabout, but the actual transition from working for someone else and working for yourself on the plumbing side was a pretty easy transition. It sounds like you get, not that it was perfect, but you got a job that kind of paid for it and was able to leverage that and just kind of move on. What's it been like going from a $30,000 job to where you are now? What's that journey been like as you're being in business for yourself?
Oh man, it's been huge. I mean, a year and a half ago, it was myself and my partner Kale, and we were working in two separate cities. So really, all we were doing from that point was working off of word of mouth, and that just grew exponentially. When we started 2020, it was Kale and myself and another plumber, and from there we've grown to 12 guys now. We have
Wow.
8 vehicles on the road. We have an office administrator. We have a general manager. We just picked up HVAC license, so that's one project that I've been working on lately. Is we're going to start doing HVAC on as well. So that's something that we're hitting full speed ahead here in 2021, and we got some big targets to hit, and not a lot of time to get there.
Yeah, and I mean, you pretty much had the majority of your growth or start during the middle of the pandemic. What was that like as a new business, just kind of getting just getting the wheels turning and that hit? What was that like for you guys?
Yeah, so that was a big one for us. A big thing that helped us is when this whole thing started off in March, we had just finished out a pretty decent sized commercial job. And by the time March hit, that was the end of the net 30. And we were able to pull in a decent sized check there for a cushion. And, Kale and I had that conversation. It's like, well, okay, if this ends up going south, we at least have this money to support us enough to be able to get into enough people's homes to help them out while still trying to be safe. And on top of that, we'll be able to keep floating the company. So we set that money aside and we had that as a cushion. And at that point, we went, full speed ahead with word of mouth, Facebook, trying to get our name out there, letting people know we were safe, healthy, ready to rock and roll inside their homes. And that was kind of a big one for us. And honestly, we have just grown exponentially through 2020 and the pandemic.
Yeah.
Having the ability to be in customers' homes still, as obviously, we were deemed an essential company. So there was no shutting us down. And honestly, we were just going to keep rocking through anyway. So, I mean, we have
Yeah.
some big targets to hit, and, we were able to help a lot of customers continue to be safe inside their homes and safe inside of our own homes as well. So we took we took the pandemic pretty seriously to make sure that we were all being safe and healthy.
Yeah. And so what would you say the majority of your work is? Give me a breakdown, commercial, residential, service, new construction.
Yeah, so a good majority of it's going to be residential service. We also do some tenant improvements on the commercial side for some decent sized contractors out here. And then most of our focus is on repipes and sewers. So we do quite a bit of sewer work. We do a lot of trenchless sewer work as well, and trying to transition more into doing quite a bit more of that. We're putting together a crew, a couple trailers to be on the roads at all times to be able to do liners, do coatings
Yeah.
along those lines with sewer work.
Nice. And that's kind of my sweet spot usually is drain cleaning and sewers. How have you been getting most of that work now? Like what do you do now to promote that?
So all of our work in 2020 and from the start in 2019 was all word of mouth.
Wow.
We did pretty much no marketing whatsoever last year, as you know, except for organic stuff on our company Facebook page. So we were generating work from there and pretty much just building connections in the community, going from meeting business owners to meeting homeowners to, friends and family. From that point, we did, excellent work for these people, and they continue to keep referring us out to their friends. And, it's like a wildfire after that. Once the one neighbor knows that you do a good job, and they know that you're going to deliver, then, we're there ready to go.
Nice, nice. And I mean, you said you scaled to how many vans so far?
There's 12 of us now. So
That's amazing to go from basically 0 to 12. I work with, tons of plumbing companies, and some people get how to get more business and some people don't. And some people with the most resources, I can get them as many calls as they want, but they don't know how to make money at it. Do you think
absolutely.
that your background in doing some of the sales and some of that stuff has really helped you? What do you think is it the combination of your kind of skill set and your partner's skill set that's kind of melded that? What do you think has been, the secret kind of to help you kind of grow so quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a foundational, set of core values that, we offer all of our guys, that they need to know these on, a day-to-day basis. This is what we operate. This is how we operate. And that helps a lot with the customers as well. So we're very transparent with the customers as to what we expect out of our guys and what we expect out of a customer. That's kind of been a big one there to leading into that. As far as sales and skills wise goes, I mean, I've done quite a bit of training with the companies that I've been with. I've been through the Next Star programs. I've been through
Yeah.
sales trainings. At one point, I went and got an insurance license. I was selling insurance on the side when I was an apprentice plumber to make, ends meet. And I was learning from insurance professionals who were running companies that were $100 million. So being able to piggyback off of them and just experience over the years with sales and being in front of the right people, putting myself in the right positions. I'm a part of 3 big business coaches masterminds. They coach me on a daily basis. I'm able to bounce things back and forth off of them to help us scale, and as well help us with being inside of the customer's home. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much, being able to have that success has been, piggybacking on learning and piggybacking on having the right coaches in place, as well as a good set of core values that we know that if we operate by these core values, this thing's going to run smoothly and it's going to work for us and the customers.
Nice. And where do you said you've added AC? Is it, what do you see kind of the 2021 going for you guys?
So we set some big targets for AC. Right now, our targets are to install 100 units this year. So we're starting at, ground zero with that. We already have quite a few people in the pipeline that are ready to go. We've got, a decent amount of estimates out there with only being in place for the past 2.5 weeks. We were able to build up a large customer base on the plumbing side, and every single one of our customers out here in Arizona really relies on their AC in the summertime. So being able to offer that as a service as well, we're mostly going to generate that from a lot of the customers that we already have, that we have good relationships with,
Yeah.
that we've developed those relationships to be able to now service them on the HVAC side as well.
Yeah. Nice. And is AC, you think AC will be as big as your plumbing, or where you're still going to focus more on the plumbing? Like, tell me where you see it being, or it's maybe they'll be equally sized at some point.
Yeah, I mean, definitely going to be equally sized. Obviously, some of the average ticket numbers are going to be higher on the HVAC side than, the plumbing. So numbers wise to margins wise, we can get a decent margin out of HVAC. We're not quite sure where exactly we're going to hit on the profit margins for that quite yet. We have a plan. We have a plan to scale that as well. I would say our focus, primarily because of the people that we have in place right now, is still going to be generated on plumbing.
Yeah.
That's our bread and butter. That's what I know. That's what my partner Kale knows. That's what our guys so far know. So until we have that groundwork put in place to where we can do that, we're not trying to be the largest AC company by any means, but we are wanting to offer that as a service to our customers and
Yeah.
be able to piggyback off of our success in plumbing to piggyback and do the work and sales needed on that side as well.
Yeah, nice. And you have any advice? Just, I mean, it sounds like you've kind of hit the ground running, and you started in a very, difficult time to start a business for anyone, really. Do you see yourself kind of, could you give any advice to someone thinking about starting their own plumbing company, and just, what you learned over that first year and a half?
Yeah, absolutely. It's being consistent. Everything boils down to consistency in my life. I mean, my day to day on it is pretty much the same. If you get me at 3 a.m. or you get me at 7 a.m., we're following the same schedule to there. My work doesn't start till 7 a.m. And that doesn't matter who's calling me, whether it's a project manager on a large job or a customer. I don't answer my phone. I'm constantly working on myself in the mornings before I work on anybody else. So having that aspect of my day to day prepared helps tremendously on the business side. If you have a good business, you have a good family life. If your family life's good, you'll have transition that over to business. So main thing I can tell most people is, one, work on yourself. If you're going to be training and working in this industry, obviously there's a lot of plumbers out there who are much better plumbers than I am, but their mindsets, their trainings, their, day-to-day approaches are not anywhere near as good as what mine is. So
Yeah.
if one piece of advice I can have is stay consistent, continue to keep working, and make sure you get your name out there, develop a good brand. I mean, that's the biggest thing. If the brand is good, the name is good, we can go from there. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how we approached it with this aspect.
Yeah, and I follow. Obviously, we're connected on Facebook, and I've seen you been posting a lot of stuff about like going to war with yourself, and it sounds like that's the kind of the personal side of stuff is really helping your business side.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when when I'm at my best shape, the business is at its best shape. So, I put the groundwork in and day out. I work out twice a day. One of them's outside. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not. We're working out 45 minutes outside every single day. I'm in the gym once a day as well for 45 minutes. That's where I start my day off. I start my day off by reading 10 to 15 pages out of any kind of book, but realistically, most of mine are generated towards business and growth as of the moment. So, I put the groundwork there. I'm eating healthy. I'm drinking a ton of water. I drink at least a gallon or two every single day, and putting myself in the best physical shape and condition that I can be. A lot of people don't take that into consideration, but when you're working properly on yourself, you're working properly in your business or, in your company. So that reverts back to sales numbers. The better you feel inside a customer's home. And
Yeah,
when you're inside a customer's home, that's where the money happens.
yeah, exactly. So far, it's a good episode. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that maybe you just want to talk about, or put out there and just kind of share?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, mostly consistency, having a set of core values for your guys. That's going to be my biggest hit home with what I can offer to people. If you lay the groundwork and you do it right the first time. I mean, I was just speaking with another plumber right now, and I just found out he's a buddy of mine, found out his company didn't even have any kind of business insurance, and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I see that excavator in the ground almost every day, and you're out here with no business insurance. Like, come on. So
Yeah,
I hooked him up with my insurance guy immediately. We're here to help people. I'm here to help other businesses and, help coach people along those lines. And mostly because, I get the coaching from other guys that I rely on a daily basis as well. One thing that I can hit on is, don't go at it alone. Make sure you have the groundwork in place to be able to, bounce your ideas off of somebody. If you have a great idea, then just execute, put it down on paper, make it happen, and continue to work on it, work on yourself, and then work on the people around you. If you're not having a good home life and your wife or your kids don't understand what you're doing, then that's going to translate into your business as well. Me and my lady, we have a very clear understanding. This is what I'm doing from this time to this time. This is what we're doing from here to here. So we have a great, work-life balance to where, she knows that I'm out doing what I need to do. that we're going to provide for the company, we're going to provide for the family, and then when that time is set aside for ourselves, we have a great time with ourselves and we disconnect from work entirely.
Yeah.
I think that's big for a lot of people, and they don't take that into consideration because they just look at it from a numbers game. This is a whole package when you start one of these companies. I've been around companies who it's number, 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 number. They want to make sure that that number's hit on a daily basis. But at what cost? Are your employees happy? Are your customers happy? Are you happy? That's kind of been a big one for me, man, is, making sure that I'm happy on a daily basis. If I'm in a bad mood, then the company's in a bad mood. And, we brought in our general manager knows nothing about plumbing or HVAC, but he's a great guy. He's good at sales. He's one of the best sales guys I've ever known. And he brings an electric attitude to the office every single morning. I mean, we're high-fiving, we're jumping up and down like with the guys when they're coming in. And it's huge for us. Once the guys get in their truck after leaving the shop in the morning, they're ready to go. And then
Yeah.
that translates over to the customers too. They see it in the guys. They see it in the guys out in the field, even all the way to some of our grumpy construction guys that we have to work with. They're all smiling. They're having a good time. So we generate a good attitude over here, and we don't settle for anything less.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, and so far, I think it's good. You want to shout out just how people can contact you, find you if they hear this, if they wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Stewart on Facebook, SMS 415 on Instagram. You can hit us up on Fusion Plumbing and Air on Facebook as well. We're here in Arizona, Tucson, and Phoenix. We operate in both markets. If there's anything you need or anyone wants to bounce any questions off me, feel free to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll do my best that I can to help as many people out as possible.
Awesome. Thank you. That was a great episode.